Billionaire sees the black maid teaching his daughter. His reaction will shock everyone. For the first time, Lila reads a full sentence. The late afternoon pours into the Atherton kitchen like liquid gold. Quartz countertops, scents of lemon and disinfectant. Imani Rhodes, in a simple and spotless uniform, beauty that stands out even in the smallest gestures, closes the mop bucket, takes a breath, and finds Lila curled up at the table, her notebook marked with eraser smudges and fresh tears. "I'm dumb," the girl whispers, voice cracking. "Don't say that again," Imani replies, firm yet gentle. "Dumb is the method, not you." She sits beside her, pulls from her pocket some colorful cards she usually uses to label products. Blue, red, yellow. She also grabs 3 bottle caps, a wooden spoon, and a lemon. Improvising. A playful method. "Look at me. We're gonna break the words into syllables. Tap the card, say the part. Deal?" Lila hesitates. "My dad doesn't like people messing with my homework." A sharp beep comes from the intercom. A neutral metallic voice. Reminder: staff must perform assigned duties. Unauthorized educational interactions may result in a warning. Imani freezes. Humiliation. High up on the wall, the sphere-shaped camera blinks a blue LED. She looks at the girl and makes a choice. "I'll help you for 5 minutes. No one can take that from us." She pulls the notebook closer. The word is orange. Imani breaks it down in colors. OR, yellow card. An, red, GE, blue. The spoon sets the rhythm. Tap here and speak slowly. ORNJ. Put it together. Orange. Imani smiles wide. Now with another one. She grabs. The lemon. Lemon. The lay sound is light. Let your tongue touch your teeth. Go. Lemon. Perfect. The girl breathes better. Shaky hands begin to calm. Imani uses the caps for short sounds, draws out vowels with the sliding spoon, turning the horror of the notebook into a game. Lila's glasses slip. Imani gently adjusts them without condescension. One more? Imani points to the sentence. In the assignment, the sun is yellow. Lila holds the pencil like it's too heavy. Imani shrinks the world. Bits. The sun is illo. Put it together. Lila closes her eyes, touches each card like she's stepping on solid ground. The sun is yellow. Silence. A shift in the air. The sun is yellow. The whole sentence. No stumbles. A laugh breaks out, shy but huge. Imani places her hand on her chest. You did it. Lila throws herself into a quick hug, almost apologizing for being happy. Don't tell anyone. Another beep. Colder. Activity logged. Unlisted interaction. Imani ignores it. You're not a problem to hide. You're a victory too. Celebrate. She pulls out her phone, opens the timer. 5 minutes became 3. A promise is a promise. They keep going. Rhymes with sun, run, fun. Imani brings a glass of water. Sound of coming out round. Lila repeats, laughs at her own sound, builds courage. In 10 minutes, the girl reads 3 lines, draws a perfect O nails. The accent mark on is with a tap of the spoon. Small wins become a chorus. Imani, can I try alone? You can. I'm right here. Lila straightens her back. The sun is yellow. The camera overhead changes light, blue to red, a long blink. Without them knowing, the security system triggers automatic upload for a typical activity in child environment. On the counter, the home tablet vibrates with a subtle notification. New clip saved, kitchen cam. Paused thumbnail. Imani smiling, spoon like a baton, Lila reading. Tenderness framed by an unblinking eye. Imani gathers the cards quickly when she hears footsteps in the hallway. That's it for today. Learning is freedom, Lila. Remember that. Thank you, the girl says quietly. This won't cause trouble, right? Imani pretends lightness. It'll be fine. The red LED blinks, stubborn. Across the city, in Soma, a phone vibrates on a conference table. Ethan Caldwell looks. At the screen, kitchen cam, activity alert. He taps the notification. The video plays, clear sound, perfect image. The doorknob turns. Ethan Caldwell enters, tablet already playing, the video's cold light flaring off his steel kitchen. Silence grows heavy. His cedar scent arrives before his voice. What's going on here? Imani, still holding the wooden spoon, stands firm despite the shock. Serene beauty, upright posture. Lila shrinks in her chair, eyes welling up behind. Thin-rimmed glasses. I was just helping Lila with her reading, says Imani, controlling her breath. You weren't hired for that. His tone is surgical, almost corporate. There are protocols, liability, safeguarding, no educational activity without express authorization. She just read one sentence, Lila whispers, clutching her notebook. It was the first time. Ethan doesn't take his eyes off. The tablet. The video shows Imani smiling, colorful cards, the spoon tapping syllables. He pauses the thumbnail, like freezing them in a frame. Imani, you'll end your shift now and leave. The agency will be contacted for clarification. Mr. Caldwell, it was 5 minutes. I didn't interfere with the homework improperly. I guided pronunciation. Lila did it. Her voice only breaks on the last word, turning it into hope. That's not the point. He's already typing on his phone. Kendra, domestic incident. Suspend staff via agency. Review all footage. Hold this week's payment pending investigation. Pause. Yes, immediate. Lila stands up, legs trembling. Dad, please. She didn't do anything wrong. This isn't about right or wrong. It's about rules. He swipes his finger and the kitchen cam clip saved alert glows. At the top of the tablet, Imani takes a deep breath, swallows the humiliation, switches to practical mode. She gathers the cards, cleans the spoon, folds the cloth on the bucket handle. Each of her movements shows care, like trying to mend what just tore. I understand your concern about boundaries, says Imani, voice soft and clear. But your daughter needs real support. She's ready. She read. And she have authorized support. His face is a mask. Thank you. You may go. The intercom beep reinforces the command. Staff Rhodes, please proceed to the service exit. The camera's red LED blinks insistently. Lila runs and hugs Imani at the waist, trying to anchor her world. Don't leave like this. Imani strokes the girl's hair, gently. You're capable, Lila. Keep breathing like I showed you. Break the words. You've got this. Imani, please, Lila pleads, voice trembling. Stay. Lila, Ethan calls firm. Now. Imani gently releases her. I'll see you shine. Promise you'll read to me when I'm back? The girl nods, tears falling. I promise. Imani grabs her supply bag. The refrigerator light spills a white glow on the floor, marking the path to the service door. Before leaving, she looks Ethan in the eye, not attacking, not shrinking. Mr. Caldwell, sometimes rules become walls. Your daughter needs bridges. He doesn't respond. Just holds the tablet like a shield. Before we continue, I want to know, where are you watching this story from? Drop it in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. And if you love emotional love stories, make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll catch all the upcoming stories and help us grow and bring more content your way. In the narrow service corridor. Imani's phone vibrates. A message from the agency. Ms. Rhodes, we were contacted by the client. Preventive suspension pending investigation. This week's payment will be withheld until completion. We will inform you of the next steps." She closes her eyes for a second, feels her heart drop to her stomach. Then she opens them, wipes away a stubborn tear with the back of her hand, and squares her shoulders. Dignity intact, the emergency door opens to the Atherton night. Perfect lawn, scent of recent irrigation, cold air that gives goosebumps. The security guard, overly polite, extends his hand. "Your badge, please." Imani hands over the magnetic card. The plastic strap taps against the metal with a short final sound. The guard hesitates. "I'm sorry." "So am I," she replies. Without bitterness. Inside the kitchen, Lila is still standing. "Dad, why did you do that?" "Because I love you," he says, without moving a muscle in his face, "and because everything has to be done the right way." She did it the right way. Just without permission. The phrase hangs in the air. Ethan breathes, finally looks his daughter in the eyes. The tablet vibrates again. Backup completed. Family shared folder. Small text reads, "One new viewer, Vanessa Pierce." He blinks, barely. "Lila, go to your room. I need to work." Is working firing the person who helped me? The simple question hits where it hurts. Lila gathers her notebook in quiet anger, and the page reading, "The sun is yellow," folds, scratching the ink. Ethan is left alone in the spotless kitchen. The shine of the counters no longer feels clean, it feels cold. The wooden spoon left on the sink becomes evidence of human contact he doesn't know how to handle. He taps the camera icon and watches again, like he's searching for justification in the same frame. Outside, Imani walks the path to the side gate. Her phone vibrates again. Shift update. Your schedule this week has been flagged for review. Another message from the agency, now impersonal. By policy, advance payment requests are not evaluated during suspension. She bites her lip, thinks about the rent, the packed morning bus line, the book she hasn't finished. And she thinks of Lila pronouncing yellow like someone opening a window. The pain becomes a line of steel down her spine. No screaming. Just decision. In the main hall, the elevator chimes. The door opens, high heels on marble. A familiar shadow of Ethan projects itself before the body appears. The tablet vibrates once more, a new, urgent notification. Kitchen cam, automatically shared with family and home. Ethan looks up. The unexpected visitor takes 2 steps and, before saying, "Hello," points to the screen. "You've always been so smart, Ethan. Why did you hit share?" Night falls over Oakland, and Imani's room is lit only by her phone screen. On it, the bank notification confirms what she already feared. The weekly deposit hasn't come through. Moments later, another alert. A message from the apartment landlord. "Ms. Rhodes, we are 5 days from the due date. If the delay is repeated, we will need to apply a fine and consider a formal notice." She closes her eyes, tries to breathe. But the distant sound of a train passing along the tracks echoes like a ticking clock. The apartment, simple, with beige walls already marked by time, smells of reheated coffee. On the table, the colorful card she used with Lila rests like a reminder of what gave meaning to the week. Her phone vibrates again. It's another automated message from the agency. Preventive suspension still in effect. We will contact you. For future instructions. At the same moment in Atherton, Lila sits in the private classroom inside the mansion. In front of her, a certified tutor, young, blonde, with a practiced smile. Expensive books, rigid method, mechanical words. Repeat after me. Lila, the sun is yellow. The girl tries, but her voice comes out low. That's not how I learned it. This is the correct method. Lila looks down at her notebook, but in her mind, she sees Imani's face, the wooden spoon marking syllables. She sighs and sets down her pencil. I want Imani. The tutor hesitates. Sweetheart, your father hired someone very qualified to help you. She's not Imani. The sentence cuts, innocent and sharp at the same time. At school, days later, the homeroom teacher notices Lila struggling again with reading out loud. The girl mixes up letters, skips words, the same old anxiety returning. At the end of class, the teacher pulls Ethan aside. Mr. Caldwell, have you considered a formal evaluation for dyslexia? We can initiate the 504 plan or IEP process. It's your right as a parent and could secure additional resources. Ethan, impeccable in a navy blue suit, adjusts his tie. She's always been smart. I think this is just a matter of practice. It's not just practice, the teacher insists. She needs consistency in someone she feels safe with. And from what I've observed, she had that with Ms. Rhodes. The name hits like an unwanted reminder. Ethan nods politely, but his tight expression reveals the inner struggle. Back in Oakland, Imani carefully folds bills on the table, aligning each piece of paper as if she could organize the chaos. The rent, the power bill, the overdue payment. For an online course she still dreams of completing. Her mind replays the image of Lila reading for the first time, and a sharp fear mixes with pride. Footsteps in the hallway interrupt her thoughts. It's her neighbor, Mrs. Eloise, knocking at the door. Imani, I saw the landlord's notice in your mailbox. If you need, I can talk to him. He likes me. Imani smiles but shakes her head. Thank you, but I'll figure it out. Across town, Ethan sits in his private office, staring at the tutor's report. Student shows resistance to activities. Expressed preference for previous individual. He rubs his face, exhausted. Beside him, the tablet blinks with an unread reminder. The kitchen video still sits in the shared folder. Meanwhile, Lila, sitting in her room, writes on a sheet of paper in large, uneven letters. For Imani, the sun is yellow. I didn't forget. She places the paper inside a box as if protecting a secret. The next day, the landlord knocks on Imani's door holding an envelope. Ms. Rhodes, I'm sorry, but I can't wait any longer. I need you to sign this. Inside, a formal eviction. Notice stands out in red at the top. The eviction envelope is still on the table when Imani's phone starts vibrating nonstop. First, a message from her neighbor Eloise. Have you seen this? It's on Nextdoor. A link follows. Imani clicks. A short video begins. Herself walking out the side door of Ethan's mansion, carrying her supply bag, her uniform immaculate despite her red eyes. The gate camera captured her quick pace, almost a retreat. The caption on the post reads, Billionaire. Humiliates employee who taught his own daughter to read. Welcome to the Bay Area. The poster is a curious neighbor used to observing the movement in the millionaire homes. He only captured the final moment without showing the context. In the comments, the fire spreads. This is disgusting. Doesn't he preach education for all? Corporate hypocrisy in its purest form. Who is she? I want to help. On Reddit, the video is already trending in our California and our public freakout. Upvotes are rising fast. An anonymous user writes, I have contacts with former employees. This isn't the first time something like this has happened. Meanwhile, in a Palo Alto co-working space, an investor reads the thread and forwards it to the partners group. This could tank us before the IPO. At the top of a building in San Francisco, Ethan's PR advisor, Kendra Alvarez, reads it on her phone and nearly spills her coffee. She calls immediately. Ethan, we have a problem. It's on Nextdoor, Reddit, and already on Twitter. The hashtag hypocrisy ad is gaining traction. Ethan, in the company office, grabs his laptop. The news feed shows his face next to headlines. EdTech CEO accused of humiliating employee for helping his daughter. He closes his eyes for a second. What's the reach? He asks, emotionless. In 1 hour, over 200,000 views. Online. Articles are starting to pop up. This will become a national story if we don't respond. And what's the narrative? That you preach educational inclusion but act the opposite at home. It's exactly the kind of contradiction that destroys investor trust. Back in Oakland, Imani holds her phone, reading messages from strangers offering support, and others too nosy asking for details. Her heart tightens. She didn't want exposure, just quiet justice. In the mansion, Lila overhears her father on the phone. I'm not releasing an official statement right now. First, I need to find out who recorded it. It doesn't matter who recorded it. Layla interrupts, voice trembling. What matters is what you did. He turns slowly. Lila, there are things you don't understand. I understand you said education was for everyone. And now I can't see the person who taught me to read. The sentence lingers in the air like a verdict. Ethan feels the weight, and for the first time, his silence isn't control, it's doubt. Kendra walks into the room holding her phone. It just hit the Chronicle, and the competition is chiming in. The CEO of LearnBridge just posted, at our company, any help for a child is welcome. It's going viral with their hashtag. In his makeshift PR office, Ethan reads the crisis stats. The hashtag against him is still trending, and investors are now requesting an urgent meeting. Between one notification and the next, he watches the kitchen video for the 100th time. Lila's voice, low and joyful, saying the sun is yellow, echoes in his head in a way no data can silence. Late in the afternoon, without notifying his advisors, he drives to Oakland. The neighborhood moves at a different pace. Worn sidewalks, kids playing basketball at the end of the block, the smell of fresh bread coming from the corner bakery. He parks and stares at the simple brick building for a few seconds, takes a deep breath and walks up the steps. Imani opens the door, surprised. The uniform is gone. She's wearing a plain navy blue t-shirt and worn jeans, her hair loose in voluminous curls framing her face. The soft light from the kitchen behind her contrasts with the coldness of their last encounters. Ethan, what are you doing here? I came to apologize. No statements, no advisors, just me. She crosses her arms, keeping her posture straight. Took you a while to realize you were wrong? Took me a while to admit I was wrong. He inhales, deeply, choosing his words. I reacted out of fear, and ended up taking away from Lila the person who helped her more than any expensive method I could buy. Imani looks at him, measuring. And what do you want now? That I come back and pretend nothing happened? No, I want you to come back on your terms. Clear contract. Defined role as learning assistant. Fair salary, paid hours, and educational autonomy supervised by the school specialist. She steps aside, letting him in. You know that changes everything. I won't be the invisible worker anymore who cleans and disappears. I know, and I want Lila to have stability. You brought that into her life. For a few seconds, they're silent. The tension isn't just conflict. There's something new, a respect beginning to transform into something else. Imani breaks the ice. If I accept, you'll have to hear my ideas. I won't follow any PR script to make you look good on the internet. Then it's a deal, he says, almost smiling. I'll handle the investors. You handle what really matters, my daughter. She extends her hand. He shakes it, feeling the warmth and steadiness of her touch. Their eyes linger longer than necessary, and for a moment, neither the crisis nor the headlines Nor the rules seem to matter. Outside, a black car slows down. In the passenger seat, someone holds up a phone, discreetly filming the door to Imani's apartment. A notification blinks, sent to Vanessa Pierce. The reconciliation that could fix everything may have just gained a new enemy. 2 days later, the school principal's office is silent, except for the soft hum of the air conditioner. Lila sits next to Imani, legs swinging, while Ethan, looking tense, stares at a blue folder on the table. The principal opens the meeting. "Mr. Caldwell, Ms. Rhodes, we've completed the evaluation. Lila shows clear signs of dyslexia. It's not a lack of intelligence or effort. It's a neurological difference in how the brain processes written words." Ethan takes a deep breath, adjusts his tie. "So, what do we do now?" That's when Ms. Nguyen enters the room, the school intervention specialist, Asian American. Around 50 thin-framed glasses and a notepad filled with precise notes. The next step is a 504 plan or an IEP. This ensures legal rights, extra time on tests, adapted typography materials, access to assistive technology, and ongoing support. Imani leans forward. "And can we start applying this right away?" "I don't want Lila to lose any more time." The specialist smiles, recognizing the urgency in her voice. "Yes, we can, but we'll need full family cooperation." Ethan nods, still processing the diagnosis. "Of course, whatever it takes." As the meeting progresses, Imani writes down every detail. Sans serif fonts to ease reading, scheduled breaks during long tasks, and the use of audiobooks as reinforcement. When the specialist mentions phonemic awareness training, Ethan notices that Imani already knows exactly what it means and how to apply a dot at the end. As everyone starts to rise, the principal casually comments, "Ms. Rhodes, your technical understanding is impressive. Have you worked in the field?" The air seems to shift. Ethan turns his face toward Imani, curious. She hesitates for a second, then speaks calmly. "I was in my last year of education at San Jose State University, top of my class, but..." Her eyes lose focus for a moment. "My mother got sick. I had to work full-time to take care of her. I withdrew and never went back." The silence is heavy. Ethan breaks it. "So, when I thought you were improvising with Lila, you actually knew exactly what you were doing." "Yes. It wasn't a lack of qualification, Mr. Caldwell. It was a lack of resources." The words come out steady, without bitterness, but with a weight that lingers in the air. Lila, innocent and sincere, held Imani's hand. "Can you be my teacher forever?" Imani smiled. "I can be someone who will always fight for you to learn. That I promise." Ethan watched silent, but his gaze had changed. He no longer saw just an employee. He saw a professional who could have been leading an entire program if she had been given the chance. As they left the school, a journalist leaning against the gate raised his phone and fired off a question. "Mr. Caldwell, is it true that your employee is more qualified than the educators your company hires?" The camera captured everything, and the video hit social media within minutes. The video from the school, with the journalist's uncomfortable question, had barely started circulating when Ethan got the call he had both expected and feared. Vanessa Pierce's voice came through the speakerphone, clear and sharp. "I've seen enough, Ethan. A domestic worker with unrestricted access to our daughter, involved in personal and academic matters. This is not professional. I'm speaking with my lawyer about custody." Ethan took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "Vanessa, Imani is the best thing that's happened to Lila's progress. You know that. This isn't about progress, it's about boundaries. You don't mix roles, and you definitely don't let our daughter's image show up online tied to a scandal." "She didn't post anything," Ethan replied. "The video was leaked without consent." Vanessa let out a cold laugh. "That doesn't matter to the court. What matters is perception. And right now, everyone thinks you don't know how to protect your daughter." When the call ended, the room was silent. Kendra Alvarez, the PR chief, sat across from him, tablet in hand, graphs showing the crisis escalating. She broke the silence. "We need to clean up this narrative. Imani's story can't stay at the center. We'll say she's dedicated but lacks formal training. Something that explains why you went with certified tutors." Ethan frowned. "That's not true. It's strategy," Kendra insisted. "If we say she was a promising education student who had to drop out, it creates sympathy. But it also raises questions about why she didn't return to school. The press will dig, and the public doesn't always get nuance." He rubbed his face, exhausted. "So you want me to erase the truth to protect my image? I want you to protect the company, the IPO, and your daughter's custody." The office door opened slowly. Imani was standing there, her expression serious. "I don't need anyone to make up a story for me. What I've lived isn't shameful. It's real life. And if working with Lila means I have to accept being reduced to a stereotype, I'd rather not come back." Kendra stood, clearly displeased. "That's naive. You don't understand how the media works." Imani stepped forward. "I understand exactly how it works. And I know that hiding the truth today gives someone permission to twist it tomorrow." Ethan stood between the two women, the weight of the decision pressing on his chest. He looked at Imani, then at Kendra's cold graphs. Finally, he shut the tablet firmly. "The truth stays. Even if it hurts. Even if it's costly." The silence that followed was heavier than any boardroom meeting. Kendra gathered her things, clearly frustrated. "Then get ready, because this is going to hurt more than you think." On Ethan's phone, a new notification appeared. An investigative journalist had published an article titled, "Who is Imani Rhodes? The Untold Past of the Woman Who Challenged a Billionaire CEO." Her photo, smiling at Lila, was on the cover. The family court in downtown San Francisco was packed. Dark wood-paneled walls and footsteps echoed through the tense silence. Ethan and Vanessa sat on opposite sides of the room, each with their attorneys. Imani, in a simple and impeccable navy blue dress, sat in the back row, hands folded in her lap. The judge, stern-faced, adjusted her glasses and announced, "We will now hear arguments on the motion to review custody of the minor, Lila Caldwell." Vanessa's attorney, a strategic communications expert, stood with a polished smile. "Your Honor, the core issue here is not just who cares for Lila, but the influence of an employee without proper formal qualifications. Ms. Imani Rhodes did not complete her degree and therefore does not have credentials that justify such deep educational involvement." Imani's eyes blinked rapidly, but she maintained her posture. The attorney continued, "Even if well-intentioned, goodwill does not replace formal training. And in this case, it may even pose risks to the child's development." Ethan leaned toward his attorney, whispering, "That's a distortion." "We'll get our chance to respond," the lawyer reassured him. Then the side door opened, and a poised woman entered, gray hair pulled into a neat bun, a pearl necklace, and a folder full of documents in her hands. "Your Honor, I request permission to testify as a voluntary witness," she announced. The judge raised her eyebrows. "Your name and relation to the case?" "Dr. Camille Johnson, retired tenured professor from San Jose State University. I was Imani Rhodes' academic advisor during her education degree." A murmur ran through the courtroom. Vanessa's lawyer tried to interrupt. "Your Honor, this witness was not listed. She will be heard." The judge cut in. Dr. Johnson walked to the stand and looked directly at the judge. "Imani Rhodes was the best student of my semester, and not just in grades. She stood out for her groundbreaking research and evidence-based Literacy, a subject many veteran educators never explored with such depth. Vanessa rolled her eyes. Then why didn't she graduate? The professor answered without hesitation. Because in her final year, her mother fell gravely ill. Imani left school to work and pay for her care. Not due to a lack of ability, but an abundance of responsibility and love. The silence that followed was absolute. Ethan looked at Imani with a mix of pride and regret. The judge, now intrigued, asked, "And the child? Is there concrete proof of the progress you mentioned?" Ethan gave a signal, and Lila was brought to the front. She held a small book, nervous. Imani knelt to her level and whispered, "Breathe. Think about the color cards." Lila opened the book and began to read, pausing at tough syllables but moving forward steadily. When she finished, it felt like the entire room had been holding its breath. The judge took notes and stated, "Clear evidence of progress. This court values measurable outcomes." Before closing the session, Vanessa's attorney stood and said, "Your Honor, we have new information that could completely alter this witness's credibility." An envelope was handed to the judge, who frowned as she opened it. The courtroom was silent as the judge returned the envelope, dismissing it as irrelevant to the decision. This case is not about rumors, it's about facts. And the facts show proven, measurable progress. She looked at Ethan and Vanessa with equal firmness. The educational plan will remain in place. Lila needs stability, not impulsive shifts. And any unjustified disruption will be deemed harmful. Imani kept her eyes down, though her hands trembled slightly. Beside her, Ethan let out a breath that seemed to release months of tension. When the hearing ended, he approached her in the hallway. "I should have done this from the beginning. Defended you with the same strength I defend my business." Imani took a deep breath. "This isn't about me, Ethan. It's about Lila. But, I'll admit, hearing that from you means a lot." Days later, an image of Ethan standing at a podium in a packed auditorium of journalists played live across multiple broadcasts. Behind him, a large screen read, "Education that transforms, a real commitment." He spoke without notes, looking out at the audience like someone who didn't need rehearsal. "I made a mistake. And that mistake showed me a hard truth. Talent and purpose aren't measured by diplomas on the wall, but by opportunity. That's why today, I'm announcing the launch of the Rhodes Fund, a scholarship program for paraprofessionals who want to finish their degrees. And the first pilot project will be a community literacy program led by someone who's proven her worth countless times, Imani Rhodes." Applause filled the auditorium, and Imani, sitting quietly in the front row, felt a warm flush rise to her face. It wasn't shame, it was pride. She no longer wore a uniform. She wore a simple but elegant dress and a badge that read Literacy Coordinator, Caldwell Foundation. That same afternoon, in the new community office in Oakland, Imani was organizing tables with colorful materials while Ethan helped assemble shelves. The atmosphere was light, and the dynamic between them no longer carried the invisible wall of boss and employee. "You knew you were going to talk me into building furniture, didn't you?" He joked, holding an Allen key, "And you knew you wouldn't be able to stay away from here, even with your packed schedule," she replied, smiling. There was a connection in their looks, but also care. They knew they were stepping into a space where feelings and responsibilities blended. Ethan was the first to say it out loud. "If we're going to take this further, I want it to be right. No rush, no blurring Lila's world." Imani nodded, and with the promise that, if it ever doesn't work out, Lila will never be the price we pay. The sound of the door opening interrupted the moment. It was Lila, running in with a book in her hands. "Imani, I read it all by myself, from beginning to end." The girl's joy filled the room, and for a moment, everything felt in its place. But outside, a parked car was watching. Inside, Vanessa held up her phone, discreetly recording through the window. The video she was capturing didn't show conflict, it showed affection. And in the wrong hands, even that could be used as a weapon. The school auditorium was packed. Parents, teachers, and students filled the seats as colorful banners announced Reading Week. On stage, Lila, now 9 years old, standing tall, with a proud smile, held a book in both hands. Her blonde hair, tied back in a ponytail, swayed slightly with her nerves. The principal introduced her. Today, Lila Caldwell will share a special reading with us. But first, she has a dedication. Lila stepped up to the microphone, took a deep breath, and looked toward the front row, where Imani sat next to Ethan. I dedicate this reading to the person who believed in me when I didn't even know how. To believe in myself, Imani. A soft murmur ran through the audience. Imani smiled with teary eyes. Ethan gave her hand a gentle squeeze, as if to say, "You deserve this." Lila began reading. Her words were clear, fluid, and confident. Her pauses were precise, and even the longest sentences came without stumbling. At the end, the auditorium erupted into applause. After the ceremony, reporters approached Imani. She was no longer the housekeeper who helped the boss's daughter, but the coordinator of a program that had expanded to 20 public schools across the Bay Area that year. What's the secret to this success? One reporter asked. The secret is simple, Imani replied. Believing that talent exists everywhere. What's missing is opportunity and continued support. Just weeks earlier, she had completed her degree in education, finally receiving the diploma she had once put on hold. The graduation, held in the university gymnasium, was streamed live to teachers and students from the community literacy program. That same day, she was officially recognized as a leader in inclusive literacy in the state of California. Professionally, the foundation Ethan created grew, funding scholarships for dozens of paraprofessionals to finish their studies. Personally, the relationship between Ethan and Imani blossomed naturally, far from scandal. Always with respect for Lila's space and well-being. As they left the school event, Lila ran up to Imani, handed her the book, and said, "Now I want you to teach me how to write stories. Stories that end well like ours." Imani crouched down, held the girl's face, and replied, "Then let's begin. Because happy endings are just the beginning of new stories." Ethan, watching, added, "And true stories need courage to be told." Final lesson. In the United States, where responsibility and opportunity are highly valued, apologizing, making things right, and opening doors matters more than any speech. And love, whether between a father and daughter or between two people who meet against all odds, is only real when it's built with respect, responsibility, and the courage to change course. As they walked together out of the auditorium, a new message arrived on Imani's phone, an invitation to a national conference on inclusive education, where she would be the keynote speaker. And this time, it would be her holding the mic to inspire the entire country. So, what did you think of this story? I'd love to know your opinion. Drop your rating from 0 to 10 in the comments and tell me how much you enjoyed it. If this story touched your heart, give it a like, share it with someone who'll be moved too, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next ones. And before you go, I've picked another emotional story for you. Just click the video that's on the screen now, and I'll meet you there.